Nearly a decade after Myanmar's Rohingya Muslim minority fled a brutal military crackdown, the refugee crisis in neighbouring Bangladesh is deepening. As the Trump administration's cuts to international aid bite, most schools in the world's largest refugee camp have been closed.
This is Mohammad Farooq, a Rohingya refugee and father of 6. He's walking with his youngest daughter. She wants to be in school, but has no access to one. They live in Bangladesh, along with 1.2 million other Rohingya, in the world's largest refugee camp. Half of them are children, most now cut off from education, and facing grim choices, including early marriage or child labour.
My daughter's schools were shut down, so I tried getting tutors. But it costs money I don't have. I hope to give them an education, but I can't afford it. That dream is shattered.
The Rohingya are stateless and among the most persecuted minorities in Southeast Asia. A predominantly Muslim community, originally from Western Myanmar, they've long been denied citizenship. In 2017, Myanmar's military killed thousands, forcing them to flee across the border to Bangladesh. Kafayatullah once taught mathematics at this camp, but the learning centre is now closed. NGOs can no longer afford to run schools in these camps.
It's deeply painful. The children in the camps have lost access to education. None of them can study anymore. We fled persecution in Myanmar, watching our homes burn. And now, here in the camps, it feels like the dreams of our new generation are being burned too.
Driven by poverty, family pressure and cultural norms, more than a third of Rohingya girls in these camps are married before the age of 16. And the number of child brides is on the rise.
I have too many daughters, so if someone asks to marry the elder ones, I give them away. I couldn't pay for their schooling, but my son-in-law promised he'd let my daughter continue her studies. I hope he keeps his word.
It's not just child marriage. Aid workers warn more and more are being forced into child labour.
Child recruitment within the camps is something that we're very concerned. We don't want children recruited. That is against every international law. And school protects the kids from that because they're occupied.
With international aid drying up, the Rohingya remain trapped in limbo. And their children are paying the highest price.
DW reporter Shristi Pal with that report, and she joins us now. Shristi, it all sounds so bleak. Is there any hope there, anything that could give these people a chance?
Only if other donors step up and they get more aid because they really need it. The United Nations has called the Rohingya the most persecuted people in the world, yet somehow there's this awkward silence in countries when they are supposed to come and step up. In European Union and the US have offered aid and funding to Bangladesh, but that's clearly not enough. And when Donald Trump slashed a huge chunk of that US aid, other donors stepped down. And that is also because most of the headlines are about other crisis regions like Gaza, Sudan, Congo, and that is where most of the aid is going. And because Rohingya crisis is not under the limelight at the moment, a lot of aid has dried up. What are other South Asian countries doing at the moment? India has said they cannot accommodate any more Rohingyas. Pakistan has put some pressure, but the entire responsibility is now on Bangladesh, and they are overwhelmed.
So if they're to stay in Bangladesh, how are they being treated there?
I'm afraid the reports say not very well. There are 1.2 million Rohingya refugees living in Bangladeshi camps at the moment. And if you look at the camps, they are overcrowded. There's a lot of poverty, malnourishment, and an utter lack of opportunities. But then one can ask, why are they not leaving the camps and looking for work? The reason is the Bangladeshi authorities are confining them or they can't leave the camps, they can't farm, they can't look for jobs. And because they're stateless, they don't get any government amenities. So they rely completely on humanitarian aid, of which there is not a lot at the moment.
Is there any plan by the Bangladeshi government to try to integrate these people into their society?
Diplomatically, there's been a lot of talks, but there's been very little action. We also have to talk about the fact there has been reports there's a lot of anti-Rohingya sentiments on the rise among the Bangladeshi communities. And when it comes to citizenship, it's another matter. If a Rohingya individual marries a Bangladeshi citizen, and out of that marriage, the child that is born is somehow not eligible for Bangladeshi citizenship. And other countries like the UAE are pressuring Bangladesh to change that they should grant citizenship to people who have been living there for a while. But as of today, nothing has happened. There have been repatriation efforts on Bangladesh's side with Myanmar, which have also not worked out. So, yes, they remain stateless as of today.
And no chance of citizenship back across the border in Myanmar. How did all of this persecution actually begin?
It's a long history of deep-rooted persecution, and I can't go back so many decades. But to summarize it, Myanmar says that the Rohingya came back from, they're illegal immigrants and they came from Bangladesh. And the Rohingyas say that they are indigenous and they've always lived for centuries in the western part of Myanmar. They are an ethnic minority, and the Buddhist majority state of Myanmar does not recognize them as a people. And that is where the persecution starts. And many insurgent groups have now taken up arms. They are Rohingya insurgent groups. And back in 2017, one such insurgent group attacked several police outposts in Myanmar. They killed police personnel. And as retaliation, the Myanmar military cracked down brutally on civilians. Mass murder of 1,000 civilians, rape, and over 700,000 refugees had to move overnight across Bangladesh, carrying only the clothes on their back.
So those who managed to escape are alive, but what sort of future do they face?
At the moment, it's very bleak. Reports say that most of the children, over 500,000 children today, have no access to education. Healthcare is another topic. They don't have any healthcare access there as well. And without aid coming forward, cases of child trafficking, child labour and early child marriage is on the rise. And unless more aid enters these camps, the vicious cycle of the indignity of being stateless and the persecution, I'm afraid, is not going to end. And this humanitarian crisis is going to become even more grave.
Shristi Pal, thank you very much for that update on such a bleak story.